Hey, I was just transferred to you because I was looking at the Supreme Court when it was built, and I was just trying to find like records on it, and it said it was saying like on their website it was saying that it was built in like a year. So I was just trying to figure out if that was true or not.
I would have you tried contacting the Supreme Court?
Yeah, and they sent me over to you guys.
Okay. I don't know what we would have on the building itself. Let me look here.
Yeah, it was saying on their website that it was the keys were given over on February 4th, 1908, but 1908 they also said that they were moving out of the old state capitol building. So I don't know, 2 months. It doesn't sound right.
Yeah, that sounds kind of odd. Let's see here. I don't know if we have anything on the building itself.
And then this is just for my project, but is it okay if I use this for record?
Sure, that's fine.
Awesome, thank you. And I want to thank all of our sponsors over on Patreon. Thank you to FlatEarthDave.com. You can check out his app. I'll put the link in the description, and you can use my referral code, MLB. The app is awesome. It shows a lot of videos that are really hard to find. They've got them all in great playlists. He also has my lunch break on the homeschool section of the app, which is really cool. Thank you for that. Thank you to Rebecca Kay, Don Gaston, Jason Brunson, Maddie Kevs, Christopher Arietta, Millicent, The Lady Lacey Show, Edwin Johnson, Al Chen, Chuck Templeton, David and Sherry Ferguson, Joy Lee, and PNR. You guys are all awesome and helping this channel out a lot. Did you think it was crazy to think these buildings were all bigger than you can see? Did you think they were just AI generated? Are you ready to have your mind blown? Call it what you want. Being at the right place at the right time? I don't believe in coincidences. We are being shown the truth, in my opinion. Are you ready to see something today that you can't find in a textbook? We will be getting to the Illinois State Capitol building today, so get ready. Now, as we heard from the Illinois State Archives, they are unsure of any information concerning the construction of the Illinois Supreme Court building, which is only located a total of 0.12 miles away from each other. So I was stunned. And that's just the beginning of the episode. I also have something at the end that blew my mind. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you all. So today, I'm taking a trip to a lot of places. So many that we're gonna have to continue this one into episode 45. We're gonna be checking out some crazy stuff. Buildings that have wild stories. Architecture that does not fit the mainstream timeline. And as always, a lot more. This is all made possible thanks to our Patreons, badge members, everyone who has bought merch and sent super chats. Also when you like, comment, and subscribe. Every dollar has gone back into this channel, like I've said before. Now let's get started. Let's begin with the Streeter Public Library, where we are told the construction began in 1902, and it just popped up January 31st, 1903, which again, we have definitely proven that in episode 41, using artificial intelligence, that this is logistically impossible, and now they are currently restoring it. At this point, restoration, in my eyes, means destruction and removal, especially when the landing in front of the murals are blocked off to the public and the front entrance is closed to the general public. Let's set the tone for this episode. The murals have never been cleaned since they were supposedly installed in 1905, and here we go. And severe smoke damage occurred to the murals in 1945 when the library had a fire in the boiler room. All right, so we get the nod. We have a hidden restoration process by our incredibly advanced society. Joking, of course. And can we just look at this AI-generated name for a second? This is right in your face kind of stuff. What is the guy's name that supposedly painted the murals? I'm not even gonna say it, because if I do, well, you know what it would say. Once you have eyes to see, this kind of stuff just honestly is so in your face and childish. And we all know about how these incredible architects, painters, supervisors, and the rest are killed off immediately after the job is done, or right in the middle of it. So let's take a look at this together. The murals were done in 1905. What year do you think this guy dies in? Well, let's take a closer look. The project is done in 1905. and he's dead in 1905 in New York City? Interesting. By suicide. Now, of course, they care so much about our society that they will close the library down and paint over things that the public should not be seeing. Okay, so we have a very interesting story here, and I want to continue to our next building because we have a lot of cool stuff to see that gets even more in depth. So this takes us to the University Hall in Lincoln, Illinois. Take a look at this thing. What year do you think they started this project? To be able to finally complete it all the way back in 1866. You guessed it. If you had 1865 on your bingo card, you are the winner. Right in the middle of the Civil War. No problem at all. This is crazy. Think about this. The entire building, from start to finish, was done in less than a year. And again, we have episode 41 to back us up. This isn't even close to possible. From the planning to getting the materials to the site, to actually building it and hiring a construction team. All of the actual logistics that go into a project, building anything like this in a year in the 1800s was impossible. This is a complete lie, especially when we are told that it wasn't even built or constructed. It was founded. Just so we are clear, you don't find your house. You build your house. Your house is constructed. It isn't found. And we have the classic windows that are at the current ground level, which is a clear sign that this building is bigger than we can see. Look at this door that is literally under the ground level. These are not basements for anyone that is on the fence. We have shown that this is a clear sign that there is most likely a tunnel system connecting all of these buildings together. So I highly recommend watching episode 42 after this episode if you are new to the channel. This will 100% clear up what we were talking about. You even have this building right next door that has the exact same thing going on, with windows at ground level. Now, of course, less than a mile away, we have the Logan County Courthouse. And this courthouse is also getting destroyed. Renovated. Other iconic features of the Logan County Courthouse are the four-faced clocks and stained glass interior domes. So they are repainting the clocks. And as for the stained glass interior dome, it was removed a few years ago, of course. And once all the changes and destruction is done, oh, did I say destruction? Repairs, but yeah, destruction. It will be reinstalled, but we don't know when that will be, of course. Wow, okay. Now I'm going to prove another point right here. So there's always issues that come up in the world, right? There are time periods such as the Civil War, the Great Depressions, freezing winters. Now, in current day construction, these are all real issues that we actually have to talk about and actually happen. But the 1800s, apparently, this was no problem. And the buildings always got done in like 9 months. Never an issue. So let's prove this point right here. In March 2020, Logan County got the money to repair the courthouse. However, 2020 brought its own challenges. Walters said repairs halted during this time period that we all just went through. Then he and his team were met with labor issues and increased material costs. This is honestly normal. This is what happens when constructing things. Things sometimes come up. Things happen that slow the process of construction down. How is it, though, that 200 years ago, this kind of stuff never happened? There was no construction issues. They never had a labor issue. They never had a shortage of construction workers. They never had weather issues or anything that would slow the process of construction down. Everything just worked out back then. Every time. Everywhere in the world. It amazes me that buildings in the 1800s, where they did not even have a road completed, were simply constructed in a year. Or less, with no issues. Yet our current civilization can't even restore it in a shorter amount of time than it took to construct the entire building 120 years ago. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. This is a different building in Ohio, but I just want to show you what I'm talking about. The Logan County Courthouse in Ohio, because the AI can't come up with a new name for these buildings, it's so repetitive, but that's not the point here. This one was built in 1870, yet took our civilization 6 years to renovate it. In 1870, it was easy and they could just construct the entire thing so fast. No, it isn't possible for every single town in the 1800s to fully understand the construction process. Every single architect to be perfect, and no understanding of where these people were trained. What school did they go to? They were all incredible? At some point, you gotta question this. At some point, it doesn't make sense. And I think we're at that point. So they build these incredible buildings, they just throw them together in a year, and then they go home and live in a shed, suffering in the winters with bonnets. The narrative is insane. Oh, and remember, we showed that the University Hall, right down the street, was founded. Do we all want to take a guess what else was founded in 1839? 184 years ago? You got it. The Logan County Courthouse was also founded. Incredible. So we have a lot of founded things in this town. They give us this nice picture, even though it's fake and just a drawing. Now for the Illinois State Capitol building. At first, when we first got there, I was really upset that we had another old world building under construction. If you go back and watch my Boots on the Ground playlist, it's actually unbelievable how many times these buildings are under some sort of construction. It's reminding me a lot of the fire narratives, where if it's an old world building, they have to put some sort of construction machine next to the building. I might even make a montage of it and put it in an episode. Repetition is a clue, and it means that you need to look closer into it. So yeah, I was upset at first about the construction, because we wouldn't be able to go inside or get up close to the building. Until I took my camera across the road, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Call it what you want, but timing is everything. The old world exposed underground, showing us that these buildings are massive, so much bigger than we can see underground. And this hole right here in the side of the building looks like yet another tunnel entrance. Is this a tunnel that we just got on camera? If you're unsure, again, I'm gonna recommend it. After this episode, I suggest watching episode 42, Tunnels Below Our Feet. Did they just destroy a tunnel with this construction process? To me, that is exactly what it looks like. And I'd love to hear what your opinion is about the entrance to the lower part of the Capitol building in the comments below. I don't think that was something we were ever meant to see. If we were here any other time, we would have missed this. Now that we have this sort of thing on film, it breaks down the walls. And it's no longer a speculation. I think we just found a tunnel system that runs underneath Springfield, Illinois. And then we have this castle that is now owned by the state and repurposed into the Illinois State Military Museum. I've contacted a member of the staff for the building because they honestly have zero information about it anywhere. And they have not emailed me back, of course. The crazy thing about this place is that it's located right next to the Illinois State Capitol building and the Supreme Court clerk. The same one that the Illinois State Archive building held zero archives about. Incredible buildings, all right next to each other, which is normally the case. Once you find one of these buildings from the past civilization, there is normally so many more that are so out of place, all right next to each other. This changes everything about where we are. There's so many lies right in front of our face. How did we all just walk past these buildings for so many years and not think anything of it? The indoctrination runs so deep. But always remember that truth is so much more powerful than lies. And once you know the truth, you don't go back to walking past the old world buildings and thinking nothing of it. Now, exactly a half a mile away, on the dot, from the Illinois State Capitol building, we have the Union Station in Springfield. Now, this part gets very interesting, as they're gonna try to explain how the main source of transportation got here. And it's about to get really eye-opening, so get ready. On December 21st, 1907, a fire started. It started at the Johnston Hatcher building. It destroyed the eastern half of the 600 block on East Adams Street. So in my opinion, a ton of old world buildings gone to this planned demolition. Now for the best part of this paragraph. This will all tie in with the train station, but here we go. The fire stopped only when the blaze hit the Bessemer building, which was built to be fireproof. No, it wasn't. It was a failed attempt because that exact same building 40 years later was burned down by a fire. It's unbelievable. And to take it a step further, let's go even deeper. They're going to try and explain this away with some stupid lighting his pipe story, but that didn't work because he starts talking and said he didn't have a pipe or matches. So the officials had to jump in. And who are these trustworthy people? And because they tell the world that they are officials, whatever they say will be what happened, and everybody will believe it. They said a short circuit in the wiring beneath the window ignited the cotton after the pipe story didn't work out. It's so ridiculous. They had to make something up because he ran his mouth and called them out on their lie. They destroyed these buildings, in my opinion. And I say my opinion, but there's an overwhelming amount of evidence to support this. And of course, that wouldn't be the only evidence that I use. Let's go even deeper. To prove this point, firefighters were back at 7th and Adams on October 11th, 1913, so 6 years later, when another spectacular fire demolished the new Johnston Hatcher building. Once again, flames then swept west along the same half block of Adams Street. Although what do you know? The fire comes to a complete halt when it reaches the amazing Bessemer building that we already know does burn down. So obviously this was a planned demolition, a controlled one to be exact. This does not happen. There were obviously things in this town from the old world, a past civilization that they did not want us to see. And of course, they don't even try this time to explain how this fire started. But this 1913 fire is where we will tie in the Union Station, because this is where the fire destroyed it. And it's weird that they say there was an original. As you can see here, when we all know the so-called second Union Station was the original, and they demolished it. And here it says, it was subsequently rebuilt with a more modern design. A more modern design? Of course it was. Unbelievable. Let's please just take a look at this picture for a minute. We have dirt roads. I need everyone here to understand that in order to ride a horse and pull the wagon with hundreds of pounds of brick in the wagon, they would need a paved road. The wheels that they had would sink right into this dirt. The wheels were pathetic, especially if it was raining that week. And you know, sometimes it does rain. I know in the 1800s they want to pretend that there's never any rain or ever any snow, but there was. And this is just another example that will prove how incredible the tunnel systems from episode 42 are. They had incredible tunnels that were in every town, connecting all of these buildings together, which we've shown, with limestone walls. Yet they didn't have a road? They did have a road, in my opinion, and it's underneath all of this dirt. It's so backwards, and this is why we are questioning things. So this was their wheel. Good luck. Not gonna happen. In my opinion, this train station was here. Trains were here in the past civilization, and it was not thousands of years ago. It was very recent, and our history is a complete lie. We are told that the train was brand new within the last few hundred years, when in reality, it has been here time and time again. And this was the past civilization's train station. And this was the past civilization's town. And then it's no wonder it's Illinois' state capital now. It's incredible. And it was destroyed in 1907 and 1903. And wait, what is this? No, they had another fire in 1921? Are you kidding me? The fire destroyed the old world building. I mean, the 1920s building. Along with the cars, and of course, the Hatchers replaced the burned building with a smaller service facility and a car wash. I was also going to check out the Western Clock Manufacturing Company building, located in Peru, Illinois. Interesting name for a town. But that one was destroyed by a fire as well, on New Year's Day, 2012. Perfect timing for a clock company to burn down. New Year's Day, right on the dot. Destroying the old world with more fires. We all understand that brick and stone does not burn from a random house fire. These, in my opinion, are demolitions. So we have cowboys and Indians from 1865 to 1895. Cowboys and Indians. Yet we have massive construction projects going on all around the world, all over America. And at the same exact time, we have the Civil War, supposedly going on in 1861. Yet massive cathedrals were easily constructed in every city, everywhere. And no problem, it was easy. The mainstream narrative does not add up. We have the Montgomery County Courthouse in Illinois that was supposedly thrown together in less than 24 months, nearly 200 years ago. And then you have the Carnahan Courthouse, located in St. Louis, Missouri, the exact site of the 1904 World's Fair. There were two phases in the construction of this incredible building. The first phase began in 1929, and the building was done in 1930. Simple. Then the second phase of construction, which included the eastern half of the courthouse, began in 1935 and was done in 1937. Now, like we have mentioned, we have proven through AI ChatGPT that this narrative is impossible. Nobody was building these courthouse structures in 1 year, anywhere in the 1800s. And then you can call up the State Archives building yourself, which we did, and they will have zero information on it, just like we have shown in this exact episode. There is zero mention of any construction company that was used in this project, because There was no construction company. It was from a past civilization, and they thought we would never ask, but we are. And it's completely destroying the mainstream narrative. The same lying narrative that has taken decades upon decades to work on, attempting to trick children year after year into thinking that this is the truth. But as soon as one of us hear the real truth, we are now interested, and we begin questioning the lies that have been told to us. And once you begin to question these lies about the mainstream narrative on these buildings, the lies never hold up, obviously. They make zero sense, and we are never given all the details. The facts that would be necessary for us to trust the mainstream narrative. We would need so many more details, such as who was the construction company? Where did the materials come from? How many horses were used? How much water did the horses need? And how was that set up for them to be properly hydrated in the summer months? Were there places for the workers to stay so they could get up early and actually work on the construction and get the job done? How many men were used? Was there ever an issue with the construction process? And on and on and on. But this is about to get insane, and I have been waiting a while to show you all this. So you're definitely going to want to see this. Here we go. Now, the actual website says that it was built in 1828, saying it opened its first courthouse, not 1928 like we were previously told. In a book called Contemporary American Sculpture that was published in 1929, a year before the building was completed, it already listed that the building was done and of Rebeck's work. So was the narrator getting ahead of itself, thinking that nobody would catch that flaw? I believe so. And they have stories about freedom going on in the building in 1850. So the story is all over the place when you go from site to site. And this is when we know we're onto them. And then we dive deeper. And this is when we look around and find things that are insane and completely blow the narrative open. And that's exactly what we did. First of all, this looks like it's on the ground level, something we have seen so many times all around the world. Are there a lot more structures that have columns like this that are so much deeper and hidden by dirt underground? That's exactly what's going on, in my opinion. Now, as we zoom in on the top of this 386-foot high building, that is most likely even bigger than that, we will see two Sphinx-like ornaments. They are 20 feet long, 11 and a half feet high, which has a room underneath them. Hold on. What am I reading here? The griffins, with the aluminum of the roof, form a huge lightning conductor, which is connected with the grouch by concealed wires. Griffins, free energy, technology from the past civilization right in front of our faces. The Sphinxes were given human faces instead of the lion's face, lion meaning griffin, in order to symbolize mercy, tempering justice. Sure. Yeah. I'm going to end this episode with this thought that I'm about to tell you, because I think it's an unbelievable find and could open up a massive door on so-called ancient Egypt. And I really want you all to think about this one. Here we go. We have the pyramid on top of the building, just like in Giza. And in Giza, something is missing from the top of the pyramid. Did they remove the griffins from the top of the Giza pyramid? And the faces on the griffins in St. Louis were changed from a lion to a man, exactly like the ones in Egypt. And these are griffin paws, in my opinion. Were the Sphinxes in Egypt also generating power, just like these ones? And when you look at the $1 bill in the USA, it shows the all-seeing eye being removed from the top of the pyramids. Is this just symbolism for them removing the griffins and removing the previous civilization from our history? And were the ones in Egypt, just like the ones in St. Louis, Missouri, here on top of the courthouse building, actually griffins? I'm gonna come right out and say it. I think the Sphinx in Egypt was actually a griffin, and it's been defaced. And yes, I believe griffins were most likely removed from the top of the Giza pyramids. Identical to what we see in St. Louis. Was ancient Egypt not that ancient? And it was actually Grand Tartaria?
Don't trust what you see. Don't listen to your senses. Trust what you are told.
Whoa.